Hi, today I'll be showing you a variation of this demo. In some ways simpler, the twist is only going to happen around a single axis. In others, a little bit more complex. Not all the tiles are going to have the same colors. And in case you're wondering why I'm showing you the video and not the actual demo, which still exists, hasn't disappeared off the face of CodePen, you can still find the link in the description to check it out. The problem is, when I coded this, I was on a Surface Book from 2016, so a newer device, and now I'm on an older laptop on Linux, so I don't know whether it's the older laptop, the different operating system, whether there has been a regression in Chromium, but the actual result that I'm seeing has some rendering issues. So I don't really know which exactly is the problem. I can't really test on the Surface Book anymore. I can't really code on it anymore. It is what it is. About a year and a half, I noticed some burn marks on the screen and asked on Twitter about it, and I got told to check whether the screen isn't curved. I thought, that's crazy. It's not curved. It doesn't look curved at all. But people insisted that I test against a flat surface, and I was absolutely shocked because it was so swollen, and the problem just got worse and worse over time. And at this point, the screen is coming off the frame. The battery behind it must be so swollen, and I got advised not to plug it in anymore because it could explode at any moment. So coding on it is a bit out of a question, and testing stuff as well. I am going to need to use it for a little bit more just to get some stuff off it. But for now, I'm going to need to use this laptop, and sorry if the result is going to have rendering issues. It may not have them on your machine if you have on your machine. So yeah, do check out the thing on your device. So let's get started and let's read the length of this hex array. So we're going to have a number of colors, which is going to be hex length. And then we're going to have a number of tiles of each color. So this is going to be, let's say, 7. It doesn't really matter. And then we're going to have a total number of tiles, which is going to be the product between the two. Number of colors times the number of tiles. Okay, so having done this, we're going to create a 3D assembly, and on it we're going to set in a style attribute the number of tiles, the total number of tiles. So it's going to be something like this. Okay, so having done this, we're going to create a loop. So for let I, this is going to be the loop index starting from 0, going all the way up to n, the total number of tiles, incremented at every step. And then we're going to have a number of 3D shapes. So that's going to be shape, not assembly. And this is going to be like an index that we're going to set to the loop index. And for every shape, we're going to have a number of faces. So again, we're going to have a loop within, and this is going to have a different loop index, obviously, j. And normally a cuboid has 6 faces, but we're going to discard the bottom one because we're never going to see it anyway, so we're just going to have 5. Fewer elements, better performance, hopefully. But as I said, we don't know how things are going to be with this laptop, so we're going to see about that. Okay, so now we're going to have a number of slices or tiles or whatever you want to call them. As long as you call them, they don't mind what you call them. Just give them a call. You know, like a rose by any other name would smell just as sweet, just that kind of shit. Okay. I shouldn't be swearing in this. Okay. Deep breath. Sorry about the bad humor, but I am freezing. It got really cold here recently, and now it's not that cold, but in the morning it gets below 0. And I don't really have heating here, so yeah, I'm freezing. This is going to go all the way up to the number of colors, so we're going to set a different kind of style for each color. So we're going to have the shape, nth child, and here we're going to have n plus, and here we have the loop index multiplied by the number of slices or tiles or whatever you want to call them, doesn't matter, plus 1. Okay, and here we're going to set color to that hex value. So hex of I. So let's look at the compiled HTML for a little bit. Oh yeah, that looks good, right? 1, 8, 15, 22. That looks perfect. That's 1 plus a multiple of 7, which is exactly what we want. Okay, so we're going to start from a unit thickness, and let's say this is going to be something like 4 pixels. And then for our shapes, we're going to have the width is going to be always calc n times that unit. But then for those thin lateral shapes, we're going to have I0, 0, not minus. I don't know how to use a keyboard. Okay, calc 1 minus. Okay, so having done this, we're going to switch it on the last one, which is going to be the top one. So last child, oh, we don't need the parenthesis there. We're going to set I to 1. Okay, so now for the height, this is going to be just a unit for the lateral ones, so that's going to be the first ones, the first 4 ones, but for the last one, for the 5th one, it's going to be the same as this one. So we're just going to have calc I times that width plus j times the unit. So that's going to be the height. So now naturally we're going to set width. Why did I use j there? That becomes cyclic. It should have been height. So that's going to be the width. Okay, and the height. Right, so it's going to be like that. Now let's give them a box shadow. Something like this. Actually make it red. Right? And let's make it a bit more obvious. Make that the spread, not the blur. Okay, this now looks a bit more obvious. So we have 4 thin ones and then a big one. 4, you know, small ones and a big one. So that's how they look. Stacked up. But something else we want to do for all divs. Position absolute, transform style, preserve 3D. So having done this, we can collapse this part. Now for our 3D assembly, we put everything in the middle. So we're going to have top 50%, left 50%, right? And then we're going to have a transform, rotate x minus 35 degrees and rotate y 45 degrees. So that's going to look a bit different. Okay, so having done this, we're also going to set a margin here. And this is going to be minus half the height and minus half the width. So again, we're going to have calc. So minus 0.5 the height, so this is going to be the vertical margin, and for the horizontal margin we're going to have minus half the width, so like this. So now they're truly in the middle. Having done this, we're also going to set, for the 3D shape, we're going to set a margin top, and that's going to be a calc. So at first we're just going to set it something like index times that unit, and we're going to tweak that so that we have everything in the middle, but for now let's just leave it at this. And then we're going to want to have a translation value, but first off let's just set the rotation. So transform, and we're going to have rotate 3D, and this is going to be I, J. So these are going to be the rotation vectors, along the x and y axis, and then we're going to have 0 for the z axis, and then we're going to have an angle. So this is going to be m, and by default this is going to be 1 times 90 degrees. Right, so this is starting to look like something. Okay, that's great that it's actually starting to look like something. So having done this, we're going to need a translation that's going to be half that width for the lateral ones and half the height for the top face. So we're going to compute like an offset along the z-axis, the new z-axis post-transform. And this is going to be very similar to the height. So to make it easier on ourselves, we're going to copy-paste and then just tweak it. So we're going to have 0.5 because it's going to be half, and we just need to switch these two, right? So now we're going to have translate along the z-axis. So that should do it. Okay, so now we can give these a background, which let's say is going to be current color. And yeah, now this is starting to look like something. One other thing I want to do is set a filter only on the top ones. So it's going to be something like brightness calc 1 plus, and I is 1 only for the top one, so we're going to use I times 0.3 or something like that. I don't know, something like this. Should look good. Okay, I think I like it better if I have this thing reversed. So let's just add a reverse there. Let's reverse the colors. I think it's gonna look better like this. Okay, now this looks really weird. Sorry, some people are racing. It looks a lot better on black. Okay, so we have a problem with the lateral faces because they're not really showing up properly. Because yeah, they're all showing up there in the back. Now, if you see, if we're going to have minus 45 degrees, that edge is going to be there. So this side shows up great. These other ones aren't. So we need to take care of that. So we're going to have a loop here. So for I from 0 to 4, because we don't need to set it on the last one. So if I different from 1, because we've already set that one as the default, then we're going to have nth child, and this is going to be I plus 1, and set m to I. Now this should do it, and we can go back to that. Okay, this looks pretty good at this point. And one other thing we need to do here is set a transform. So actually we're just going to set directly that animation. So keyframes, animation, and let's say it's going to be 80%, 100%, transform, rotate Y 90 degrees, and let's set something like 2 seconds. I don't know, make it 1 second. It's probably better that way. Now we're going to set the animation here. So animation, that animation duration, is in out, infinite, and here we're going to have a delay, which is going to depend on the index. So it's going to be the index times a quarter, so minus 0.25 times the duration over the total number of tiles, right? That should do it. Oh, yeah, that's going to be n. So something else I want to do, I think I want to take this outside the interpolation, just so that we can see it in the calc. Okay, so this is super laggy. For some reason. It's just super laggy. Why are you so laggy? It's insanely laggy. So I don't know, it might look a lot better on your machine, but I don't know, why is it so laggy? I have no idea. Okay. Is that too many tiles? There are just 7 of them for each color. What if I put 4 in there? Okay, that's just super laggy. I don't know, is it because of the recording? Is it because of something else? I don't know. It might look better for your machine, it might look better while I'm not recording. So yeah, do check it out. The link is going to be in the description below, so check it out if it works better for you. Yeah, not exactly optimistic about the performance of future videos I'm gonna record. But yeah, it is what it is. So in spite of all this, I do hope you've enjoyed this video. I do hope it works better for you. It's not as laggy. And remember, if you want to support my work, if you want me to be able to do this stuff in the future, you can do so by being a cool cat and becoming a patron on Patreon. The link is going to be in the description, or you can get me something off my Amazon wishlist. Again, the link is going to be in the description. But yeah, sorry, this is not exactly the perfect outcome, but laggy candy or something like that. We'll see what happens in the next video. Hopefully I'll pick something with better chances of not being laggy. Hopefully. Anyway, until next time.